Welcome to the Not a Lonely Coffee Break podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Meaghan. We're a podcast about coffee and work, but make it queer.
Oh my gosh, and we are so excited to be back and refreshed after a much needed little break that we took, a little PTO minus the P part.
Minus the P. Yeah, no, it's season 2, y'all. Get excited.
Woo!
Happy New
Season
Year.
2. Happy New Year. Happy new season.
Yes.
I feel like this needs a little cheers.
Cheers, queers.
Cheers to season 2.
2. Yes. So excited to have y'all with us.
Yeah, and so much has happened in the time that we were away. I feel like, Megan, it was maybe like a month that we kind of took a little break.
About a month, yeah. Which it
And
does seem longer.
a lot has happened, which I'm sure throughout the season it will all come up and we'll dive deeper into any relevant topics. But I thought first, since it's been a minute, we should check in. Megan, what did you do during your PTO?
Let's see. I did a lot in the December because the holidays. I did a lot of traveling, going back and forth. My family's from the Panhandle, so went into the dusty plains and saw family.
Gross.
Yeah. Yeah. And then since I'd say Christmas to New Year's, it's all been a blur. I did get laid off at the end of December, which has been a transition. And guys, we'll probably be talking about in and out. Not going to hit too hard on my experience today, but wowies, things are going on. But I'm so glad to get some rest and get to hang out with you. We got to do a fun New Year's Eve party. But what did you get to do?
Yeah, so I also did get a little bit of rest, but I was also super busy.
Mm,
I felt like we were always kind of going places and doing all the things,
too
trying to
much.
cram it all in. It was wild. But I did spend a good chunk of my time kind of balancing between doing the worky stuff, because I did work, the fun stuff, and then mixing in that family stuff. But yeah, it was so fun that we got to see each other, I think twice during our hiatus in person.
Which is 2 times more than most quarters.
Yeah. Megan and we are really good friends, but we do usually connect more in a virtual capacity because our schedules are so hard to sync up. But it was cool. We hung out twice and we obviously had that fun little New Year's.
Yes, we had a fun New
Party.
Year's shindig and got to get some friends together. So glad y'all were able to come. But I think it was a lot of fun because we got to plan our New Year's resolutions, which I hate New Year's resolutions. You know, with everything going on in my life, I just was like, I need on the bright side. Someone give me sunny side up. Okay. So yeah, I was really excited to see some of the resolutions that everybody came up with at the party.
Yeah, so we obviously at the party we identified some for ourselves, of course, but I agree it's kind of been hard even. I don't usually get into the resolution stuff because I never stick to it, but I feel like with everything going on, it's really hard to be like, I'm going to do this and stay motivated and positive about it, which is why I was so glad that we did come up with the Not a Lonely Coffee Break podcast bingo card for 2026. I was actually talking to our friend Kendria a few days ago, and yeah, she was like, so tell me, what are some goals that you have for yourself? She kind of shared some stuff that she's wanting for herself, and I was like, girl, be quiet. Is like surviving this dumpster fire that we live in not an option? Not and she goes, I mean, valid
Point.
But what I like about our bingo card is that it doesn't necessarily have to be like, do this one very specific thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun, y'all. With the bingo, you don't have to go to a smoky bingo hall. It's digital. So the way it works is you download it digitally off of our link in bio on our Instagram. And it's super cool. Just put it on your phone. And anytime we're in an episode and we're discussing something on the bingo card, we'll probably even be like, hey, that's a thingy on our bingo card. And the first person to come up with 5 in a row gets a free swag bag. So
Mhm,
I
mhm.
love freebies. And I think it's just something fun for us, our listeners. And if you didn't create any New Year's resolutions for yourselves, maybe use the bingo card. It's
Mhm.
queer, it's fun. I don't know what else you want from
Mhm.
me. So, what do you think?
No, yeah, we love a good swag bag. Um, and we love a good bingo. So I think it'll be a perfect mix. And it's kind of a mix of, being aware and active around current events while also taking care of yourself and finding those smaller things to bring you joy throughout the year. So I'm really excited for it. And I figured we could even kick things off with our bingo tracking, and people can like block this off on their square if they also find this as something worth blocking off. But some queer joy celebration, which we need right now, right? We need some queer
Absolutely.
joy. So, in current events, we know that there have been significant like terminations of grant fundings for all sorts of things. Like, I mean, on day one, right?
Mm,
Things related to DEI, things related to the queer community, LGBTQ plus. Most recently, mental health and substance use. There's been significant funding terminated for a lot of organizations that focus on mental wellness and substance use, which, I mean, the social worker in me and the human in me knows this is going to be catastrophic. Like,
right.
people are hurting. But out of the shadows emerged a queen who said, "Not on my watch."
What?
She said, "Nope, ain't nobody got time for this." So Mackenzie Scott, who has earned a reputation as being a giver of substantial amounts of money towards a
Mm,
variety of nonprofits, it just came out like within the last few days that she donated $45 million to the Trevor Project, which focuses on mental health, suicide, crisis programs, support, all of that for LGBTQ plus youth specifically, but the LGBTQ plus community at large benefits from the Trevor Project. It was the largest donation that they had received from one donor in 27 years.
wow. Yeah, I could imagine.
Um, yeah, and she had previously donated to them back in 2020. She donated like 6 million. So nothing in this realm. $45 million.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, we have to think about, I mean, like they have to hire, specialists to work the lines. You have to have mental health professionals to work the lines or like to put programs nationally. So this is huge. I had heard
Mhm.
that she had given, I just didn't know it was that much. So that's
Mhm.
super exciting. And it's honestly, it's going to save lives.
Yeah, no, she really has a heart for organizations that help at-risk youth, and like her donation history always reflects that. I know a few other nonprofits that she has donated a sizable chunk of change to in recent years. I don't know what her political beliefs are. I don't know where she stands on the political spectrum, but based on her donation history alone, it's clear that she values human rights
Hmm.
and getting people, kids specifically, but people, the help that they need, whether she agrees with them or not about their life or
Hmm.
whatever. So, in a world full of Nicki Minaj's, be a Mackenzie Scott.
Bye, Nikki. We didn't need that. Yeah, no, that was crazy too. I just thank you, Mackenzie Scott, for
Mhm.
the donation.
Mhm. Yeah.
You
It's
know,
a sizable chunk of change.
that I would say requires the stamp of queer joy. Yep.
Queer joy. We'll
Yeah.
put it on your little
So
bingo card.
put it on the bingo card. First one down. We made it easy for you.
That's like what is it? The freebie.
The freebie. That's the only one you get. Besides the free spot in the middle. But
So, all right. So let's get into talking about our favorite topic, work.
work. Kill me now.
And one thing that I know is impacting a lot of people right now, Megan, including you.
Mm,
Uh, Thank you for sharing your experience. Know that we are here for you,
of course. Thank you.
in our little coffee break crew, but it's impacting a lot of people. Layoffs. Companies are downsizing, restructuring, losing funding, merging, all sorts of things going on that's
Hmm.
impacting the workforce, and the people that work at these places
Yeah. The working
are
class.
losing. Yeah, they're losing jobs. So I was curious because now that we're in a new year, I was curious to know if we had numbers out yet for
Yeah.
last year. And we
Mhm.
do. Over 1.17 million job cuts were announced by US companies by the end of November 2025. That's a 54% jump from what it was in 2024.
54%.
That's half. Yeah,
That's half.
that's
Half
half
more
from
than
what it was in
half of
2024.
us. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
wild.
Are we great yet?
Please tell me. Is that great with a little
Is
g or a big G?
Yeah, is that greatness?
I don't know.
I mean, I
It
don't
doesn't feel
know.
so great.
It doesn't
Yeah.
feel great.
Yeah, we really do see a lot of those numbers from like the bigger companies,
Yeah.
like these huge conglomerates that are like laying off in droves. But like, you got to know that the nonprofits are getting hit,
Mhm.
public services, obviously the federal workforce was the first, like,
Mhm.
thing that we were hearing about or like paying attention to. And then it's just kind of snowballed. Yeah. So it's going to be a tough year, but I'm hoping for growth
Of course,
from
of
our
course.
community.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine that the number is much higher because just like you said, these numbers really are from some of those larger or medium-sized US companies, not
Mhm.
necessarily including these smaller companies, nonprofits, all of that. And then the continued stress is that it feels like there's just not any jobs that are hiring people. So a lot of people are being laid off, but then there's not enough jobs to
Fill them up.
fill them up
Yep.
because people are laying people off and not replacing. Like there's no new jobs being created.
Mhm.
So it's an added layer of stress. So I know I was talking to someone that I'm connected to who was actually laid off early last year, kind of in one of the first big waves, I think, of cuts and people losing funding and stuff. They were laid off. And so they had mentioned to me that they felt like at some point they were applying for 60 to 70 jobs at a week, like a week at a
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Like every week, it was 60 to 70 jobs.
Yeah.
This person did find a job later on in the year, but, did have to kinda take various odd jobs here and there so that they could pay their bills and, like, eat their food.
For sure. No, that's super scary. I can totally relate. It's like, you're putting them through, you get the email notification a couple weeks later.
Mhm,
Sorry, like not even a foot in the door. It's
mhm.
rough. And like coming from a generation where like at the beginning of my professional career, we were still walking into offices, dropping off resumes,
Yeah.
talking to the manager, talking to the recruiters, and like having conversations to like build that rapport. And now it's not like that. And it's so hard to fit the criteria that they're specifically looking for, you know?
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
so either you don't have enough qualifications, or
Yeah, or you're overqualified for the
right.
job. Yeah,
Exactly.
and sometimes I'm like, I don't understand. If I'm overqualified for the job, who are y'all looking for? Like, who are you hiring?
I'm obviously okay with the pay cut. Like, just give me the
Right.
job.
And, like, y'all aren't even bothering to, like, email me or
Yeah.
call me and tell me, "Hey, we're going in a different direction." You just, like, ghost me.
Yeah.
Job searching
It's
is like the toxic relationship none of us want.
exactly. Like, please stop. Please stop making me feel worse. Yeah, and that's all you can do. Honestly, there's not enough people talking about this. There's, what are recruiters doing or like what type of AI or whatever they're using in big corporates to sift through resumes. Probably honestly thousands that they're getting
Mhm.
because online and then also because so many people were laid off in a holiday season. But yeah, what are the tips and tricks because just me having what I have is just not it's just not working.
Mhm.
So it's definitely frustrating from time to time. And it can definitely make you sink into like this hole of losing
Mhm.
your routine and just the feeling less productive.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, I also would love to know what the hiring strategies are. And it varies. So it's like one company is using one thing, another company might be using something else. But what I did think I could offer today to, anyone who has been laid off or is trying to help someone who was just laid off, I thought I could share some tips that I've learned because, lost my job a while back. And I kinda went through a lot of similar things. It was a different setup. Being laid off and being fired sometimes are different feelings of
Yeah.
things, but I think there's what's the same is that you're trying to find a job
Mhm.
after no longer having a job.
Right.
So, it absolutely can disrupt your mood, your identity, your time structure, all of that stuff, and you can get stuck in that cycle of just being low, unmotivated, not productive. You might feel like a failure. I know that's
Mhm.
something I commonly battle, but it's a common psychological response to what is going on around us. So, I know that I've continued to deal with it on a regular basis, but the good news is 'cause you know me, I love to see what is out there. The good news
Mhm.
is that there is solid research and people are kinda sharing what they've learned and doing research on it about ways that they can protect their mental health, their well-being, while still feeling productive during this new transition in life.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah, Maddie. Come through with the science. Please help me. Because right now, whatever's happening in my brain and at home
Mhm,
is
mhm,
just, it's like imagine a ball of yarn, but it's not a ball. It's just all, yeah. That's what's
mhm. It's all
happening. Yeah.
jumbled up.
So please
Yeah.
give me some structure. Yeah. What are the tips and tricks that you've got going on?
So, one of the biggest areas is rebuilding your time structure. And honestly, I think it probably matters more than motivation because
Mm,
we get stuck in this mind frame of not being motivated. But when our routine changes, like going from having a job to not having a job, that's a routine.
right.
There's a shift. There's a psychological shift that happens, and because we're human, we associate it with just, "Well, I'm not motivated." But what's really happening is it's our response to that change in our routine. And so we have to sometimes rebuild that structure within our new kind of environment. So examples would be having a consistent wake up time.
Mhm.
Because now that you don't have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. You might be staying in bed until noon. And then you wake up and you're like, I've lost all this time in my day. So now you've already started off with this sort of mind frame of, well, I've already slept till noon, so there's no point.
Right. Mhm.
So have a consistent wake up time. It's probably even more important than a bedtime. Obviously, I'm very much pro having a bedtime as well, but maybe that's just because I'm old.
I don't think it's good. It's good sleep hygiene, you
Yeah,
know?
good sleep hygiene. But yeah, having a consistent wake up time where you're still getting up and starting your day, and then create a weekly schedule for yourself that kind of resembles a work day. It doesn't have to be jam packed with work stuff, but you can do things like, you know what, the morning time is what I'm going to block off for my um, job search and like skill building, things like that. The afternoon, I'm going to focus more on maybe personal type of things like running errands I might need to do, being engaging in physical activity. And then the evening, that should be devoted to your you time where you're resting, you're recharging, maybe you're engaging in some social
Mm,
time, whatever that
mhm.
looks like. But you build out a structure that works for you. So, like, I know some people feel like they might be more productive in the afternoons. So they might want to put that worky type stuff later in their day. Whereas, like, someone like me, I do like to get my stuff done in the mornings. So that way I have the afternoons to do my fun stuff
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm more productive in the mornings. So that's just for me. So you can use kind of like block off times. And you also want to kind of use words that don't feel like icky. Like instead of saying apply for jobs, say job searching. You're just
Mm,
looking for jobs, right?
mhm.
They don't always have to be action oriented.
Okay,
Although there might be actions that go into that job search
right.
if you find one that you want to apply for.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense because honestly, I kept thinking for a little while it was bugging me because I'm like, why do I feel so low? Like
Mhm.
I'm feel my time, but I think you're right. It's not about the motivation because,
Mhm.
there are times we don't even feel motivated to go to work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's just structuring. And
Mhm.
that's definitely something I'm going to try because I do feel a little bit out of sorts. But,
Mhm.
I think trying to schedule it out, block it out, like you said, even I'm thinking like if you're tired of being at home, maybe I should just go find a coffee shop or something to go sit
Yeah.
at while I do my
Mhm.
work.
Yeah, and a lot of those places will even give you access to their Wi-Fi for free.
Exactly. Yeah, because I need to get out. So, yes, that sounds so good.
Mhm. Yeah. No, we're creatures of habit. And so when we have our routine, when we know what works for us, it really does open up the door to kind of figuring things out, and you start to
Mhm.
feel a little bit more motivated.
Right. Yeah, I think it's like also the loss of rewards, like, or just like the small
Mhm.
wins that you're used to,
Mhm.
even when you're at work or you're like, hey, I did this today. That felt really good. But like
Yeah.
anything with that.
Yeah, so you can incorporate that into your routine, and that also kinda it's a mood booster, right? We all love a good reward. We love to feel good.
Hmm.
So you start small and give yourself small goals. Things like update my LinkedIn profile. That's easy, right? So that's an easy thing that you can just do it real quick and then be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so productive. I updated my LinkedIn profile today."
Yes.
Or instead of putting something like apply for 5 jobs, maybe you're going to say, I'm going to apply for 1 job. And then once you complete, maybe not every single of those small things, maybe a group. So, like, once
Hmm.
you complete 3 of the small tasks, you can earn a reward. And
Yeah.
it's not like take the rest of the day off kind of reward, but it can be something like the more fun stuff, right? So it could be something like, "Oh, I'm gonna listen to music," or "I'm going to watch the YouTube clip of Kelly Clarkson performing a K-pop Demon Hunter song." Because
Very
y'all,
specific.
she finally did it.
She did it. Wow. Okay. I'll have to look it up.
She didn't do Golden. She
Mm.
did what's the last song
The
they
last
sing?
song. This is what it sounds like, I think.
Yeah, she did that
Yeah.
one. But maybe that's the reward you wanna give yourself.
Okay.
I know for me, I sometimes will do because I also like to feel productive when my house is tidy, and I am someone that sometimes enjoys doing some of the housework.
Hmm.
So I might reward myself by saying, "Oh, I can take a break from this stuff and go make sure that I, um, mow my lawn."
Yeah. Yeah. And it gets you out of like work off the
Yeah, and then
computer.
that also builds in some physical activity,
Right.
which is also important. So, but if you don't enjoy doing house tasks, then maybe that won't be your reward. It can be literally anything. You
That's
just
true.
wanna make sure that you establish healthy boundaries and you're not overdoing your reward.
Right. I
So
think that's
small tasks, baby step tasks, and baby rewards
wow.
to
Yeah,
help you make it through your day.
that sounds like a really good idea because I have been playing Switch and that's
Mhm.
like my happy time.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I should use that as like my reward because I have been on my Switch a little too
Mhm,
much.
mhm.
But yeah, and then that could help me balance out some time or even, whoever this might be and
Mhm.
just be like, okay, I didn't job
Yeah.
search for 10 hours today. Like I'm just going to do the little
Right.
goals, the big ones that I
Mhm,
really hit. Cause, for me, I'm scrolling all the time. I'm getting Glassdoor or
mhm,
Indeed and I'm
mhm.
marking them bookmark for later, knock them out, go have some free time. So that's
Yeah,
such a
no,
good
and I
idea.
the reason why it's also important is because sometimes when we get stuck into this psychological shift that's happening and we might be in those lower moods or depressive states, we also are likely to be avoiding things because maybe they feel overwhelming to us or it feels so big that we can't manage it. So by breaking it up into smaller chunks that feel less overwhelming, more manageable, right? 1 job versus 5 jobs, you are more productive because you're not avoiding it as much as you might have been because it's smaller and easier to work with.
Right. Yeah, because I think that even being in that high stress, you're like, okay, I have to find something. That's really the only thing that stirs in your head
Mhm.
is I have to find something. It doesn't matter what it is
Mhm,
at this
mhm.
point. But it almost feels like you're getting to the point that it's becoming burnout feeling that you're just like, like it's mush in your head and you're like, I don't even know what
Mhm.
I'm saying in these cover letters anymore. Like, what am I even saying anymore?
Mhm.
So you're just like running circles. So that's what I'm feeling.
No, for sure. That's super common. A lot of people experience that. And
Mm,
I correlated a lot even to just losing sight of yourself. You have a little bit
mm,
of an identity crisis.
yeah.
Anytime there's like a significant change in a big part of our life, you experience some identity struggles there. So I know for me, it came up a lot. When I lost my job, I definitely went through a period of like, who am I when I'm not working?
Yeah.
Like, I am a failure.
Oh no.
I am struggling to provide for my family, like all of these things because I had wrapped my identity so tightly in being employed and
Hmm.
having a job that when I didn't have that, I was kind of like, okay, well, who am I? What comes next?
Right?
And that can
Exactly.
absolutely lead into that spiral that can lead to everything that you're saying, where we
Hmm.
feel burned out doing even these small things, which is why having the smaller things can help mitigate some of that as well. And I actually found that, during this time, it did allow me kind of taking a step back to even reclaim who I was outside of my job, helped me explore areas that I'd always been passionate about, but I never had time to really invest in what that looked like for me.
Mm,
It didn't happen overnight.
for sure.
I definitely had to work through some muddiness first, but it gave me an opportunity to be more involved in things that I previously didn't have those chances for, like
For sure.
volunteering or things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds really good because, for me, I went to college a little later and then I got my degree. And then I was like, oh, I have these two roads I can go on. And now I'm like, okay, now I have too many options. And you really have to dial it down, right? And you're just
Mhm.
going through that and working from home. Do I work from home? Do I commute again? I don't even know.
Mhm.
So just having to stay
Mhm.
active and getting out of that feeling, that headspace, take going outside, like what you were
Mhm.
saying when you had those intrusive thoughts of like, I'm a failure because we're so tightly wound to
Mhm.
that we have to have something to work, which we do in order to survive, but doesn't mean that's who I am. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm really trying to figure that out as I'm looking for jobs because, if I don't get the job
Mhm.
that doesn't fall under the title that I'm in love with, I can be okay with that. It will take some
Mhm.
time. I'm saying I will be okay with that. Stay tuned,
Mhm.
listeners. We will find out if I'm okay with that. But
What she really means is that she won't be okay with
yeah,
that.
and
She'll have some feelings to
we'll have an
work through with
episode.
that.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna keep on rolling and
No, so true. I think it's also important, and I mentioned this earlier, it's important this also applies if you are in maybe you haven't been laid off, but you're in like a new situation where you find yourself working from home.
mm,
Because this is also all of these things can apply for a work at home environment as well. You have to have a balance of you as a person and you as a professional and you as the job seeker or whatever it is. But you also have to make sure that you are getting in that physical activity
right,
because the more like sedentary lifestyle that you have, it's going to impact your mood. So you do need to make sure that you're moving around, even if it's you don't have to get up and go to the gym and work out, but, like, getting up and taking care of things around the house. That's how I do it, because I'm like, "Oh, I've gotta make sure I do." I've wanted to do some laundry, so I need to go do that. So I make sure to get up in my days and break it up with housework, but you gotta make sure that you're moving. And then don't lose sight of people.
oh
Staying connected to people. That was
yeah,
one thing I think that I still struggle with after everything kind of blew up for me. I closed myself off.
yeah,
Like, I stayed at home. I was like, I don't want to talk to anybody. And some of it was that psychological struggle that I had where I was kind of like, I feel like a failure. I don't want to talk to anybody
you don't want to talk about
because
it.
I don't want to talk about it. Um, they're gonna they're gonna see me as this big failure, whatever. So some of that was mixed into it, but you can if you get stuck in that cycle and you cut people off, then it's gonna be really lonely. So continue to find ways to engage in your community. Have people over to hang out with you, go spend time with people.
Schedule it
Don't
in.
Yeah, schedule it in. Like, don't break up with your community
Mhm.
because you're gonna need them. You need that support system.
That is something that I will say I have started doing is that whenever somebody makes like a coffee date or something with me, I don't always
Mhm,
do this in the past, but I've been just putting in my calendar because my calendar doesn't really have much in it anymore.
mhm.
So if I have like a friend date or a coffee thing or just me going to something, I put it in my calendar so I can hold myself accountable. But then also having your people
Mm.
can help you hold yourself accountable because then you're like, oh, I have to go to this thing because I haven't seen them in
Right,
2 months. Yeah.
right.
So, yeah, definitely finding your people is so important. Finding those connections in the community, you never know. Even the people that you used to be colleagues with and you're cool with,
Mhm,
they may hear stuff for you and they're like, oh, yeah, I still talk to Megan and she would be
mhm,
great for this thing.
mhm.
Doing stuff like that would also help. And I will say that that has been helpful. It hasn't hit me with like a home run or anything, but, just knowing that people are thinking of me and,
Yeah.
keeping their eye out is really helpful.
Absolutely. It's natural to feel upset about a layoff. It's a
Mm,
normal reaction and it's natural to go through a variety of emotions, but it's important to remember that it's not a sign of weakness that you are going through a rough patch. And productivity during this time isn't necessarily about the hustle of how quickly you can get things done, but about protecting your mental health, your well-being, who you are, and finding a rhythm that works for you. Finding a routine, a setup that works for you. Because I was thinking about this right now. We kind of go through stages, but right now, I think being laid off, we have to view it as more of a marathon,
mm,
um, not a sprint.
yeah,
And so we have to figure out a way to be able to sustain ourselves during this marathon.
yeah.
But there have been times where I know people are in our economy where people have been laid off and been able to bounce back really quickly, but we're just not in that stage. So you've got to figure out how to sustain your well-being while also doing what you need to do to find a job.
Mhm.
But it's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. Got it. I will buckle down for this next sprint or part of the marathon. It'll be fine.
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
To be
mhm,
determined. Right. No, I thank you so much, Maddie, because you're right. Nobody talks about this. Nobody wants to talk about layoffs.
mhm.
They're always just like, well, this has happened. And then they move
Yeah.
on. And then we're like, okay, well, that's cool. But the rest of us are freaked out and not sure what to do with our professional careers, which we're
Mhm.
trying to line up, right? Some of us have
Yeah.
tracks and stuff goals that we're trying to reach. So yeah, that is something to think about as if things continue to go as they go. I think finding community and supporting each other is going to be the biggest thing we have. It's the only
Mhm,
thing we have, right? Is just holding
mhm,
your people close. So yeah, thanks.
mhm.
I will do this, y'all. Maybe I'll give an update next time. Maddie, you keep me
Yeah,
accountable.
an update for
An
sure.
update,
We'll check in. But no, I would also love to hear because I rooted some of these tips for you, Megan. I rooted it in my own personal
right?
experience. I mean, yes, I did kind of see what the research said, but I was like, yeah, that worked for me. Other people might have other strategies that they found helpful. Listeners, if you are experiencing a layoff or you've been through a layoff and you want to share some tips of things that helped you during that time, please let us know. You can let us know in the comments or send us an email. We're always looking for listener feedback to share with others because we are a community of coffee drinkers
And other beverages.
and other beverages. But I am out of coffee. So that's our cue to wrap up. But thank you all for joining us. And we're so excited to be back and ready to go for season 2. We have a lot of great topics we're going to dive into for this season, just a deeper dive.
A deeper dive.
But if you have not already subscribed, Make sure that you hit that subscription button, whether it's a bell, a plus sign, whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Subscribe.
Be sure you are connected with us on socials and continue the conversation. We love to hear your questions and your experiences while navigating the workplace.
All of them, yes.
Mm.
We love social media. You can find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Threads, Patreon. And of course, you can always check out the show on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. We hope that you'll continue joining us for Not a Lonely Coffee Break. Again, we are your hosts. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Meaghan. Cheers,
Cheers,
queer.
queer.